Hello guys, thank you so much for coming back to watch another video on my channel. As we all been waiting patiently for Resident Evil 9's announcement from Capcom this year, a new leak has just been surfaced on the internet by a known leaker. Now this leak confirms that Capcom is currently working on multiple Resident Evil projects simultaneously on the background. Now which of these projects we can expect from Capcom? Well, let's find out together in this video. And as always, if you do end up liking the video I made for you, do give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because it's free of cost and it will allow me to make more of these content for you guys. 2023 has been a great year for horror enthusiasts as we had Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is literally one of the best Resident Evil remakes we had from Capcom. And later on in the same year, Capcom released a DLC for Ada's campaign, which was also one of the best DLCs we had from this franchise. Now the game is coming out again this year in a complete package with all the DLCs in the form of Resident Evil 4 Remake Gold Edition, which we knew it was coming based on the trend we've seen with the previous Resident Evil titles. Now after that remake, we know that Capcom is working hard on Resident Evil 9, which hopefully will be announced this year with a release date. Now Capcom has recently done a survey for fans and asking them what sort of game they want from Capcom to be remade in Resident Evil franchise. And in a recent interview they also confirmed that Capcom will continue the same trend of making the mainline Resident Evil titles along with the remakes. So we can also speculate that Capcom is now working on few Resident Evil titles on the background. Now saying that, a new leak has just been surfaced on the internet, which is confirmed by a known leaker who goes by the name of Dusk Golem. Now his leaks around Resident Evil games most of the times turn out to be accurate. He just recently confirmed that he's aware that there are 5 Resident Evil games currently in development, including Resident Evil 9. I'm surprised at how much Capcom is putting the effort into the Resident Evil franchise, that now we have 5 Resident Evil projects in development simultaneously on the background. One of those projects we know is Resident Evil 9, which will continue the mainline franchise games, and this will be the main project where Capcom's main division will be working hard on the background to continue the storyline of this franchise. And based on the previous rumour that we know that Resident Evil 9 has the highest amount of budget and been in development since 2018. So we know that Resident Evil 9 will attempt to be the magnus opus for Capcom because they'll be spending the most amount of time and money into that game. However, saying that now we know, if we take that leak as accurate, that there are other 4 Resident Evil titles which are currently in development. Now looking at the recent survey, we definitely know that among those projects, Capcom will be remaking some of the older Resident Evil titles from the previous Resident Evil games, as they've confirmed it in the recent interview. Now based on the demand from the Resident Evil community, one of those projects will be a remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica, which has been requested to be redone on a brand new RE engine, as the Resident Evil Code Veronica remake is a true sequel to the events of Resident Evil 2 Remake, to see what happens to Claire Redfield and what happened to Chris Redfield after the event of Resident Evil 1. And the demand for Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake is there, so I believe one of those projects would be Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake. Another possible remake which will be in development is Resident Evil 1, as this game is still the most beloved Resident Evil game which has started this franchise and already had a remake in 2002, which is literally one of the best games out of this franchise. Now looking at the recent Resident Evil titles, we can see that Capcom has decided to remake a lot of the old Resident Evil titles, including Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 4. And the only game which is still missing and hasn't had a proper remake in a more modernized controls is Resident Evil 1 Remake. So there is a high chance of this game getting a proper remake among that list. And lastly, I do believe that Resident Evil 5 Remake will also be in development, as they already have teased this idea at the end of Resident Evil 4 Remake. And we have seen throughout the game that Wesker had more involvement this time around compared to the original Resident Evil 4. Now obviously Resident Evil 5 Remake is not Resident Evil 4 Remake, because Resident Evil 4 Remake had to continue the same sort of story of Resident Evil 4, which was still beloved by the community, whereas Resident Evil 5 is very polarizing game. So I think they might have to spend more time doing an overhaul for the game, but they might still keep the same story beat from the original Resident Evil 5. So I do believe Resident Evil 5 Remake might be among those lists of the projects which are currently in development. Now based on the previous leaks we've seen from Capcom's headquarters, there was a leaked document which confirmed that Capcom is also working on another 2 projects which is in the Resident Evil franchise. Now one of those projects was Resident Evil Outrage, which was supposedly a Revelation title exclusively coming out for Nintendo Switch. However, it was never been officially announced by Capcom themselves, and it was only confirmed by the leakers that this game has been cancelled. I do believe that might be the case for Nintendo Switch, because if they would love to do a Resident Evil Revelations title which will connect the dots and the plots behind the organizations and the story which was involved in the event of Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8. Furthermore, they don't have to limit the potential of Resident Evil Revelation titles by catering for a handheld device when they can utilize RE Engine and release it on the more modern consoles. So I do personally believe that Resident Evil Outrage might still be in development for the more modern consoles, and it might help us understand about the connections, BSAA and Blue Umbrella's involvement in the more recent Resident Evil titles. Now the other Resident Evil project, which was also leaked from that document, it was named as Resident Evil Honk, which was supposed to be released this year. Now that game could be a spin-off title which Capcom might be looking at expanding the Resident Evil franchise with the other Resident Evil characters, as it's codenamed as Hong, and we all know who that character is, but obviously we can't say that for sure. Now we know Capcom has attempted few times to do a multiplayer Resident Evil title, however they have been struggling with it, so this could be another attempt on a multiplayer Resident Evil game from Capcom by putting a proper effort into a standalone multiplayer experience. It also could be a Resident Evil Outbreak remake where they can include all those multiplayer components which they were trying to do, but they can do that by doing a remake of Resident Evil Outbreak. It's just a guess game at the moment because Capcom has not officially announced it, so it could be a remake of Resident Evil Outbreak or a brand new spin-off title. I hope it's a single player experience with those multiplayer elements which they did with Resident Evil Outbreak, because Capcom hasn't been great with a multiplayer Resident Evil title, and there's so many characters which has a potential to come back in the Resident Evil franchise, so they could do that with a proper spin-off title. However, we can't confirm for sure, it's all just speculation at this point. And remember to take any of these leaks with a grain of salt until an official confirmation has made by Capcom. What do you guys think about the multiple Resident Evil projects which are currently in development at Capcom? Please do let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below in this video. And that's it for the video guys, I'll catch you again with another video on my channel. Until then, look after yourself, have a good one.